Hello everyone. Hopefully this time I didn't fuck anything up. And we are actually here with the third episode of Champions Corner, the For Honor podcast. I'm sure I did fuck something up, but
Yeah, you probably did.
actually I think I had my keyboard in the background as the music was going on because I muted.
There you
Yeah,
go.
there we go. I muted.
You did.
Yeah, I'm sure I did. I muted the wrong thing, but it's okay. Everything is fine. This is how this is supposed to start. Now, first thing, is wrong overlay? No, it's not the wrong overlay. This was a design choice. So, as we usually do, let's have you guys introduce everyone. Now, Bodja, who are you? Tell me.
Hello, guys. My name is Badra. Welcome back to the podcast for the episode number 3. I've been part of the competitive community for quite a while now, and yeah.
Let's go, Bodja. All right, Reptile, who are you?
Hello, it's me, Reptile. I have a bad microphone today.
Everything's going fine.
Yeah, everything is fine. So I've been in the competitive scene for about as long as Bodrat, so that would be quite a while, as he would say. I'm a Raider and Kensei player, mainly Vanguards, and yeah, I'm the Q&A guy in case you have any questions.
Yeah, if you have, sorry, before I let you introduce yourself, Carmen, if you have any questions, I think it's !QA in chat, either way, at Reptile. In the Reptile Necrosis in the chat, and we can answer all the questions at the end of the broadcast. This one's probably going to be slightly shorter than the others, so we're probably going to be able to answer a few more. Okay, Scorbrand, who are you?
Hello, I am Scorbrand. I mean, you guys all know us. Competitive player, yada yada, yeah.
Yeah, we're very famous, so... well, hopefully at least on this stream you all know us. And this podcast being delayed by, I think, ended up being 3 hours is my fault and my fault only, because I decided to play in an Xbox 2v2 tournament, and yeah, that's why it was a different time. But next time, so in 2 weeks, it's going to be the same time, which is I think 7 p.m. UTC. So it's going to go back to the normal time. Okay, so the first thing that we'll be talking about today is news. So, as I introduced, or we introduced last time, this is the section where we talk about all the things that happened in the last week that were in any way important, and then we delve deeper into them and on the important ones after this. So, first of all the tournaments that happened these past 2 weeks, I may have forgotten one or two, but I do have all the most important ones. So there was a couple For Honor console tournaments. There was a PS4 2v2, which was won by Chagat and Calamity Key, if I'm reading this correctly. There was a For Honor console Xbox tournament, which was the exact one that I was playing in, the 2v2. It was streamed on this channel as well. It was won by me and Devour. Then there was, continuing the path on Xbox tournaments, there was a Valhalla Warriors Xbox 4v4 tournament, which was won by me, Mamba, Lex, and Fusion. I forgot that name for a second. It was Fusion. And then every Monday there's a 1v1 Xbox tournament, which is global, so you can, anyone who wants, they can participate in that. It's an ESL 1v1 tournament on Monday. On PC, there was an ESL 1v1, which ended up being Legion against Barricade. It was last Monday, I think. And that was won by Legion. I think he came back from the loser bracket and won like 5 best of 5s in a row or something. Obviously, like in-game best of 5s. So nice. I think that was Kong Zerg, or 6 best of 5s in a row or something like that. And there was the For Glory 4v4 Dominion tournament, which was won by me, Clutchmeister, Vinx, and who was the guy? Was Vinx, Setmix was the last guy. He was the last one, Setmix. And then for PS4 there was the 2v2 that I talked about. There was every Thursday there's a 1v1 ESL on Germany stream tournament. There is every Saturday there is a 4v4 and a 1v1. The 1v1 tournament is for EU only, and every Sunday there's a 2v2 for EU only. So I think that should be all the tournaments. Again, I may have forgotten one or two, but those are like the actual tournaments that happened these past 2 weeks. If you want to stay in touch with all the tournaments, you can join the Discord, !Discord in chat, and there should be one for PC and for console. So if you join the one for PC, by the way, you will also get notified for the console tournament. So if you're on both, it's better to join the PC one. But so that's about it. Was there anything in the dev Discord? Is it the dev stream that happened last time that I don't know about? Anything important, or was it battle outfits?
I was busy. I didn't watch it. I don't know if you guys watched it.
I never watched it either.
Okay.
No.
All right. So I don't think there was anything too important. Apparently, someone said it was battle outfits. Of course, it was battle outfits. I'm sure they hyped up E3 though, and so they're not lying when they're saying this is big. Oh yeah, actually.
Oh yeah, we could talk about that teaser in the video.
Yeah, there was the leak in the trailer at the end, and I think yeah, Ubisoft leaked it. And I think there was another one that I saw somewhere. I know it was on YouTube somewhere. I don't know if it was on the dev stream or it was like given to someone else. But there was also one that showed like Warden's face or something. I'm not exactly sure, but there was the teaser at the end.
Yeah, there was one video with Warden's like face.
Okay, yeah. So that was that.
Mask off.
Yeah, mask off. So that was nice. I don't know what we can really say about this, but it's something to get hyped about. It's a really big thing, I think. If that is any here,
we can't say much, because like it's not like we can speculate on it because we know a little more than speculation allows. But yeah, look forward to E3.
Yeah, E3 is when exactly? I think it's 12, right?
Yep.
So
2 weeks.
When it begins.
Yeah. So next episode, I think we're going to be able to talk about the E3 things. I don't know. Will we be able to? Yeah, but date-wise, yeah. Of course, we won't be able to give any details or anything. But all the things that are going to be mentioned there, we can talk about and give our opinion, and it's going to be really big. So that's nice. And actually, Rafe mentioned there was the dual, like, matrix, like the win rates or something that Ubisoft posted. I don't have the link to it, but I think the biggest thing is that I think Glad was like the third last, and then like Shugoki was pretty high up, but aside from that, it seemed pretty.
Was high up
Aramusha was pretty high up.
I mean, once again, it just goes to show that there's like a big disconnect between the data and the actual viability of the heroes. Yeah, like this, the data of I think like 2.5% or something like that of the player base, which is very, very broad for if we wanted to balance around it, and it's also involves console, so that's where Glad doing really poorly and Aramusha doing very well comes from. I think Aramusha had like a 55% win rate against all the assassins or something like that. So that's coming from console, and that's where all the complaints about Aramusha against assassins come from, because he does have like a 55 plus I think % win rate against all the assassins. I think we've also saw Orochi at like by far the last spot. I think it was like 40% win rate or something like that. So then that was before the rework, of course. That was the previous season. So if I remember correctly, I think he was like 5 like percentage points lower than the next guy. So that was a pretty big. I was actually not expecting it to be this big. The discrepancy between, or at least like, well, I can say like that. I wasn't expecting Orochi to be this bad. Win rate wise. I mean, I don't know if we can really have expectations on data containing the top 2.5% of both platforms. Like it's too big of a pool. Yeah,
of course. But so I was expecting him to be slightly higher. But that's like I guess maybe that's a part of the reason why they did the rework. Probably not. Hopefully not, actually. But okay, so that would be the news. I don't think there was anything else going on, but that's still more than the usual. The
the trailer leak or the teaser. That's really big. That's going to be a very big thing on at E3, and the dual matrix. So I think that's about it. So then we can go from news to the console tournaments that happened this weekend. I think they were all this weekend actually. So there was as I said, the 2v2 that Scorbrand and Rave, right? You played with Rave?
Yeah.
Yeah, you played in it. And there was the 2v2 on Xbox that I played in earlier today, and there was a 4v4 yesterday as well. So Scorbrand, can you talk to us about the 4v4 the 2v2 tournament?
Yeah. So yeah, I played that with Rave Lord. We played Nabushi Kensei, and we didn't do too well. We got like 4th place, and it's just it's because console is completely different, right? Like it's hard to even call it the same game as what's on PC. There's just so much that is it just doesn't transfer between the two of them, and you know, like the big problem that we always have with console is the input delay. Like I'm playing with wired controller on a monitor, all that, and it's still really, really bad. And I know you guys experienced it too, where the input delay is just killer. Like you can't do anything when you want it to. It's always coming out a bit later on console. So that really messes with us whenever we play it. Makes it really much less enjoyable. But yeah, we still like to try to play in the console tourneys if we have the time for it. Just mainly, I mainly do it just so I can see their perspective a bit more. And yeah, it's fucking rough.
Yeah, in my experience, when it comes to the input delay, like I have to parry the attack before my opponent thinks of pressing the button. Of course, it's not that severe, but that's how it feels like. Where like today I was like 1v1ing, I think Devour's Scent or something, and we weren't really playing seriously, of course. So he was like just doing zones, ascend, and things like that, and I was having difficulties parrying the second and the third hit for the first time at least. Because I was trying to parry at normal timing, right, on PC timing, but that's not how console works. So I had to like parry the moment, like before I even saw the indicator, knowing that there's going to be, you know, the third and the second, the third part of the send zone. So it feels very, very overwhelming playing on console like that. But I mean, it's kind of still the same game, but it's also not really the same game anymore. You're kind of playing something else when you're playing on console. That's a bit of an issue, but.
Yeah, but like coming from PC and then going to like a console platform, like you can actually notice the difference. Even when like when we did the 4v4 tournaments, like anytime you try to parry, you have to do it way before that you would do it on PC. So it messes with a lot of players that come from PC to Xbox. But it's the opposite when you're coming from console to PC because everything's slower. So you have more time to react to it.
Yeah, and
I don't even really have much of a problem with the 30 FPS though. Like that, you know, if you break that down to what that actually means, that's giving you 16 ms less to react. You know, because you got half the frames. But that's not that big of a difference. Things look choppier, so that might impact your reactions for choppiness, but not that much. It's really just the input delay. It feels like way, way more than it should be. I don't know what's up with it.
My cats are fighting. Give me a second. But yeah, I think when it comes to console, it's not the FPS that's the issue. It's the input delay and the FOV. Like as I'm playing on console, like and everyone else that plays on console, everyone's whiffing so many guard breaks. Like even Mamba and Fusion, who, you know, switched between the two platforms, but they started on Xbox and then they switched to PC, and now they're playing on Xbox, you know, when there's tournaments as well. We're playing them in a 2v2 tournament, and they're whiffing guard breaks, like, and I don't even see the guard breaks, but I can tell that they're whiffing guard breaks. I can see them because the FOV, but they're whiffing guard breaks. Everyone's doing that, and it feels really bad because, like, I'm blocking a Kensei zone, and then he obviously, like, they can say not whiffs. He feints the second part of the zone. So usually on PC I can guard break that, even if there's not much of a reason to. But I can at least guard break that. On Xbox somehow it just never connects. I don't know. There's something going on with the FOV. All those small, well, not really small issues. All those issues that are not connected to the 30 FPS. That I don't know if that's something that's easy to fix. Probably not. Probably they would have fixed it already. But that's a big thing. I think that's much bigger than just 30 FPS. Okay, Skr, so to end about this tournament, well, actually, there's two things I want to know about the tournament. How was the organizing? And was there any meta that developed, or was it just the same as PC, something like that?
Organizing was great, and Light Boogie always does a great job. Light Boogie's really, really great for the console scene. He's exactly what you could ask for in a TO. Always does a great job. Everything went smooth, all of that. And as far as meta, okay. First place, Nobu Kensei. Second place, Nobu Kensei. Third place, Shinobi Kensei. Fourth place, Nobu Kensei. You're noticing a pattern here.
It's the Shinobi.
It's the
Shinobi. It's the Shinobi that's the issue, I think.
Shinobi is the pattern, yeah. Yeah, and it's just, it's console. You cannot do what you actually want to be doing because of the garbage input delay. So stuff that can throw out wide hitboxes will get those hitboxes to land more often. And that's Nobushi and Kensei.
Yeah, like when you compare this, top 4, with just Nobushi Kensei and like Shinobi Kensei at one point as well. If you compare that to the PC variety, where in the last tournament there were 4 characters in the finals, and like in the top 8 or something, there was like 7 different compositions, if I remember correctly. So you compare that to just the consoles. Okay, let's just have quick characters that can spam and have big hitboxes. There's a lot that's less. There's less complexity on console, and it sucks. But yeah, on console you just kind of want quick characters that can attack in a wide arc. It's not that much fault to choosing the characters. So that was the PS4 tournament, which was again won by Chagad and Calamity, if I'm saying that properly. So as for me, as for the tournaments I played in, there was the tournament today 2v2, which was pretty much the same meta, which was just Nobushi Kensei. I don't know what the third and fourth team played. I think they played like Raiders Kensei or something, and the fourth team played whatever. I don't actually know. They played probably some random characters, but Xbox is on a much lower level, so it doesn't really go, okay, let's at least pick quick characters. They're just kind of okay, I'm playing this, you're playing this, let's go. That's kind of all that's going on Xbox at least. And the tournament was, if you just look at how long the tournament was, it was fine. It was around 5 hours or so. But when it comes to having to wait, we had to wait like an hour and a half or 2 hours, and I don't think we had to wait 2 hours. I think we had to wait an hour and a half, which is worse than like on PC tournaments, but it's still better than the 4v4 tournaments on Xbox in my experience at least. So that's going to the PS4, sorry, the 4v4 tournament on Xbox now, the Valhalla Warriors tournament that we won. We had to wait 2.5 hours after winning the winner bracket. And going even more back to the tournament that we played like 2 or 3 weeks ago on Xbox 4v4, that I think was talked about on this show already, so I'm not going to be talking much, that we had to wait 3 hours for that one. So there's a lot going on, at least in the 4v4 tournaments on Xbox, where you win the winner bracket and then you have to wait so many hours, and I think there's a lot of issues with that, like a lot of problems. Like this is created by a lot of problems, I think. Well, first of all, it takes people so long to host lobbies. It takes so long to communicate on Xbox. I assume it's the same on PS4. I know, wouldn't know, didn't play, but I assume it's similar on PS4. Xbox takes so much time. Yeah, takes so much time. There's the banning system, or I think it was the banning system. I think it was like choosing even the map that takes so much time on Xbox. And there's disputes on Xbox, at least. There's disputes after every attack is slightly quicker than it's supposed to be. Like in this 2v2 tournament, for example, there was a guy who took like 2 hours uploading a clip of us supposedly lagging, and then we weren't even really lagging for like console standards. And he took like those 2 hours, but then he stopped our series in the middle. And then after 30 or so minutes of not being able to upload this like 30 or 40-second clip, he gave us the win because of how long it would take, I assume. Or like we played it, but that was pretty much, giving the win. And then the 4v4 tournament, as I said, we had to wait a long time, and there wasn't really much competition. As I said before, Xbox is on a lot lower level than PC, and even what seems to be on PS4. Again,
I mean, there's definitely good players on PS4. We're not lacking in that. It's just because it's so different, you don't know which of those players would be good on PC and which wouldn't. You just really cannot compare the two. But like, I mean, we don't typically win the PS4 tournaments. They do have good players there.
Yeah, but Xbox doesn't, and I'm sorry to say that, but it's a lot. It's difficult to get good at a platform that's so bad, but the level there is very, very low. And like back when Nobushi was like by far the best character in 2v2, like by far, like May last year or something like that, they were playing like Valk in tournaments on Xbox, at least, right? They were playing Valk, they were playing, I think, Raider as well. Just like random compositions where it's like, okay, you play this character, cool, I play this character, let's go. Not much thought going. And the same in 2v2 and 4v4. In 4v4, I think we keep getting like different characters each game, because this team only plays Vikings. This team plays, this team has a Shinobi. This team has these random characters, and they just kind of like randomize the characters at the selection screen, and it's all good. So that's how it looks like on Xbox. But on PS4, from what I hear and from what I see, it's a lot closer and a lot higher level. So that's nice.
Yeah, like in PS4, even when they're playing 4v4 tournaments, in terms of game sense, they know what they're doing. And like they play it pretty optimally, and then you go to Xbox and just the most random comp and like just random spamming attacks. They have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah. Also, I don't know how it is on PS4, but for me at least, every Xbox tournament is just literally just spamming attacks because I can't see my opponents anyway. Like either we play Brazilian Wi-Fi warriors, or we're playing like someone from like probably like fucking Philippines or some shit. I wouldn't know. Just like random countries, which is of course fine, playing from different countries, but the lag issues are much bigger on Xbox than they are on PC, and I don't know about PS4. But even if it's NA against EU on Xbox, it feels very, very bad. Whereas EU against EU, it feels I can block attacks, right? Like I can't really parry them because of the input delay, but I can block attacks. On EU against NA, I can't block attacks. I can't really do anything, and my opponents can't block attacks either, so we're just both of us spamming, and who spams better wins. So that's especially now with like Zerker and Orochi getting the really quick attacks for 100 MS. There's just no blocking on Xbox, at least in tournaments.
Yeah, lag is like a huge thing, like in terms of cross region, because I remember our team playing in PS4, we played against like Saudis, and they were like extremely laggy, to the point where they were like banned from the next tournament. So
yeah, the Brazilians got banned as well. Like, well, not the team itself, but the region. Like the region got banned from 4v4 tournaments, at least on that tournament they played. So there's that's kind of sucks. At least for Xbox. Again, I'm seeing and I'm hearing that PS4 is a lot better, but Xbox is very, very low level. And every time I stream, my chat is just full of people asking, how are these, in the finals, or how are these people making it this far? How do these people even know that there are tournaments if they can't see anything? I don't know. There's just a lot.
Yeah, you can tell from like the comps they use too. Like on PS4, everyone like has a pretty decent like comp that you can use even on PC at a competitive level. But then on Xbox, they're using like Aramusha, like some random shit like Shinobi, Warlord. It's the worst comp.
Yeah, the Aramusha Warden Warlord Shinobi was I think the comp one time, and that was like the best Xbox team besides us.
The best PS4 or even the top 3 teams all had like Shaman, Nobushi, Kensei player comps like that. So
yeah, someone in my chat said PS4 is like PC Junior, but the Xbox is just I don't know. Yeah, this is pretty much it. Like PS4 obviously is still probably lower in level, and still because of the limitations of the console itself, and how For Honor works on console, it's still a lot less thought going into it than on PC. But on Xbox there's just nothing. There's just void. So okay, I think we milked this topic enough. But yeah, like there are tournaments happening on both consoles. So if you're a console player and you didn't know, there are tournaments going on, and that's the only reason I play console, right? I play Xbox only to play in tournaments and win some tournaments. The prize pool was actually pretty good this time as well. For the 2v2, it was 100 base for both PS4 and Xbox. Like it was 200 combined prize pool. Plus there was a match arena going on, and I think they earned 40 or so. So that's nice. And the 4v4 had I think 100 quid, which is like 120, 130 American dollars, something like that. So it's still nice that tournaments are happening and people are playing in the tournaments. There's a lot of teams. I think in the 2v2 today there was like 40 something teams. I don't know on PS4. Scott, do you remember how many teams there were on PS4?
Well, I was looking at the Xbox bracket and there were 28 that checked in, so not quite 40.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I was just looking at teams
like
that just
30-ish on PS4.
But yeah, it was around the same on PS4. I think, yeah, about 30 checked in there.
Okay. So here on Xbox there was for them looking I think 33 checked in, and on PS4 about 30 as well. So there are teams. There's like at least like 120 people playing on the weekend on those tournaments, but. And that's nice. The level is a lot lower, but it is still nice that those are happening. Okay, so I think that's enough. Now, will this work? This worked. Okay, I guessed correctly. I wasn't sure which scene was which, but this works. Okay, now the next tournament that we're gonna be talking about is the PC Dominion tournament. That happens with the For Glory tournament, and it happened. When was this? Last week, right? Last weekend. Yeah, I think last weekend.
Yep.
Okay, so Skurbrand and Bodjo, because you guys played together. What was the tournament for you like? And because I think you lost in the winner bracket, right? And then you went through the loser bracket and went on to the finals again, right? So what happened there and what was going on, kind of?
All right, Score, you can go first. Okay. All right. I'll take it first.
Hi, Bodjo. I go first.
So we tried a different comp this time. Like we usually don't play Nobushi, PK, Kensei, Shaman. The only two characters that stayed were Shaman and Kensei, and Score switched off from PK to Nobushi, and Ray played PK. So it was our first time trying a different comp. I was pretty happy with our performance. Like we went from the winners bracket, lost to the Russians, and then from the losers we beat everyone 2-0. We never lost map to a single person. And during the grand finals, I believe it was 3-2.
Yeah.
The score, 3-2. And seeing how we first time trying our new comp, because Score hasn't played Nobushi since 4v4 Hero Series Invitational, so since November, and Rave barely ever plays Assassins. I was pretty happy with the performance. Score, you can add on.
Yeah, I still think I'm really bad at Nobushi at the moment. Still got a lot more practice and improvement to do, but we did well. Second place, 3-2, not too bad when we're trying new things. And something that I found really interesting that happened this tournament but didn't happen in the past were composition counterpicks really started to come into play. Like, for example, in grand finals, we switched. Like, for most of the tourney, we had Rave on PK, me on Nobushi, but against you guys, Alern, because you have Vince on Conk, we decided to switch, put me back on PK, and then put Rave Lord on Highlander, because Highlander does very well against Conk, of course. and we had a lot of success with that. So you have this counter picking going on. Then it's something that hasn't really been going on in tournaments before, and even in the map picks, you have counter picks. Then we would often be like, okay, who are we fighting? Oh, this team has a Highlander. Okay, let's ban the small maps, make it harder for him to get around. There's a lot more thinking and strategy going on based on what team you're fighting and everything.
Yeah, now that there's more than just one or at most two viable comps, it does feel like there's a lot more thinking going on. Yeah, like me personally, I didn't really notice the Highlander much, but obviously I was not the target of the Highlander. So I wouldn't know if it's actually possible to. Well, of course it's possible, but how much better, let's say, is Highlander against Kong than some other characters? Meaning that, do we have to switch off of Kong? That's something that we have to practice and see.
Well, another thing, right, is our comp before we switched to Highlander being PK, Shaman, Nabushi, Kensei. That comp is very weak to Kong because you think about the mid matchups. Kong does well against Kensei and Nobu. We really don't have anybody to contest that Kong on the team.
Yeah, in the 1v1 you can't do anything, yeah.
So that was never part of it. It's just like our comp is weak against Kong. So we had to change something and we made our Kong strong against Kong.
Yeah, especially once Kong gets his feats, and once he has those feats, it's extremely hard to contest mid. Like once you guys get your feats rolling.
But, although we're starting to see a lot of strategy going into compositions and map picks and everything, I think something really stifling it from growing even more is Shaman, because Shaman's still required. She's still too OP for ganking, and because of that, because you're always going to have a Shaman, well, you may as well run Everblade heroes. Make your broken Shaman even more broken. So then you have that bleed package, that you're putting on every team, and it's really preventing more spots on a team comp to open up for changes.
Yeah, I hope they, Ubisoft. I was about to say acts quick, but this has been an issue for a very, very long time. So acts at one point or another, and finally does something about Shaman. They did make like a small change recently, right? Something about like you heal, or if the bite is messed up or something like that. I don't exactly know the change actually.
It doesn't affect it at the top level, but basically what they did was, if you pounce and it gets interrupted by someone, they're no longer bleeding, so you can't instantly pounce them again.
So you can't really pounce them.
But at a high level, no one's gonna hit you out unless it's Kihu or something.
Yeah, that's actually true.
High level, we said.
Yeah, high level. Yeah, that's the kind of change, kind of like that reminds me of a change like kick for the Centurion not stunning anymore. That's a change that doesn't really affect high level, but it's probably nice. With this change, I'm not exactly sure. Probably nice for the lower level, although probably much more annoying as well for the Shaman players. But at high level doesn't really change anything. Shaman is still very much required, and it's pretty much it. I hope something changes at one point. It'd be nice. But yeah, all right. So that was the tournament for now. When it comes to my own experience. There was one very interesting game we had against Skeptic's team where Vinx got disconnected very early on and we won with a bot. It was a very interesting game. None of us expected us to win, but we ended up winning. I don't know if that's not the game. Actually, I can show the game. I think it's in a little bit. It's this little gate game. It was a big game. It was like I think we ended up winning 3-1. Against Skeptic's team. It was very interesting, winning with a bot, but the bot actually is pretty good. The Kong bot is better than you'd think. Like he revived me at one point. Just after he revived me, I see on the event log, bot shut down Skeptic. So he was doing work.
I mean, bots occasionally can perform decently well. Yeah. Like, I play a lot of MM, and whenever like let's say I'm in a group of 3 with a bot fighting a group of 4. We always have like a very strong reactions to what bot we get. Like if we get a shaman bot, we're like, oh hell yeah, let's go. We got this easy. Because shaman bot is like the best spot.
Yeah, conk bot's really good too. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember how after Aramusha was introduced, you guys were having problems in the mem. Just, you preferred playing against players than just like level 3 Aramusha bots.
It was funny because one team was 4 Aramushas, so a 4 stack. They all quit instantly, and then we were fighting against 4 Aramusha bots on release. It was tough.
I would not want to fight that. The Aramusha bot can be pretty good, but yeah, the Shaman bot is amazing. Like I've seen the Shaman bot numerous times, 1v1 competitive players.
Yeah, because you can't hit her.
By shaman bot.
Yeah, it's
you cannot hit a shaman bot. It'll parry everything you throw out, and if it's out of stamina, you can't touch her.
Yeah, and then if you bleed, you will get pounced.
And if you bleed, you're never pouncing, never.
Yeah, you're just gonna fucking dodge everything. It's pretty good bot. So yeah, we had that running, and then yeah, we were winning 2-0 against in the finals against your guys' team. You picked Highlander. I think we picked Highlander after the first game, and then we still won one game. But then you guys, I assume, got accustomed to playing with Highlander, and we lost 2 games in a row. And we decided to switch off of the Kong into Lawbringer, and
on high fort.
Yeah, that's what.
It's a tough map for Highlander in general too.
Yeah, it's a pretty bit. That's a factor there as well. But we ended up switching to Lawbringer. That's what our Kong plays aside from Kong. He plays Lawbringer. That's Vinx, right? So he's like by far the best Lawbringer in the world. So not an issue having him on a team. The only real moment where I don't know what's Vinx's opinion here, and obviously his opinion is much more valuable here because he's the Lawbringer, but in my experience the only time where Lawbringer is really not very good is when we're against like a Kong and Kensei team, because then it's very, very difficult to do anything in mid, and obviously he needs mid, and he can't really do anything, can't gank Kong as easily as some other characters as well on top of that. So it gets difficult with those characters, but with any other setup I've never felt like we had difficulties because of the Lawbringer. So Lawbringer is still really, really good in the meta, and I kind of hope that Vinx ends up playing him more in scrims and tournaments to see how that goes. So is there anything else about the tournament? Actually, Reptile, you were supposed to play in the tournament, but your team didn't show up or something, right?
My team did not show up, or like one guy didn't show up, so we couldn't play.
Nice.
So instead, I watched some of the gameplay. I watched Clutch's stream, and I took note real quick of the heroes I saw the most. Like some random teams had some random picks, but the main meta pool I saw consisted of Shaman. You would always have Shaman, because OP. So PK is still being played as well because of the whole bleed meta, like Score was kind of talking about. You can call it bleed meta because you stack onto the Shaman, and she still has insane feats.
Yeah, she's still really good.
Yeah, and then we see Conk a lot because he's so strong in contesting mid, and then Conk is a lot about the counter pick with Highlander, and you want to counter pick him. That's also why we see Highlander, and we see a lot of Nobushi in this tournament, more than we saw in some past 4v4s. At least I thought so. Then we see Kensei, Lawbringer, and then a few Berserkers. And those were the main heroes that I took note of that were actually working in 4v4.
Yeah, that's a big list. That's really good.
Yeah, and when Shaman gets...
Like in a game of only 18 heroes to pick from, that's like around half of them. Not bad.
Yeah.
Also, I would like to say, like, Nuento's team were top 4, and they did not have a Shaman on their team. So it was
Did
pretty cool.
they play Orochi, or what did they play?
They played Zerk, PK, Conk, and Ibushi.
Oh, who played?
They took a map off us in the winners bracket.
Who was playing
with that
Ibushi on their team?
Quilt.
Oh, right. I guess I'm thinking of a slightly different team then. Okay.
Yeah. So they took a map off us with that comp, which is pretty good. And they were top 4. So
yeah, it's a good team comp. So yeah, like when that's already pretty good variety wise, and better than we've ever really had in any game mode. Like other than this period of time, I guess the other time where there was a lot of viability, a lot of different picks was 1v1 around Hero Series level, but that's 1v1, and that was also with unlocks and things like that still being in the game. But in the Hero Series, we had like the 1v1 Hero Series, we had like I think 7 characters played at the highest level, and that was when there was 14 characters as well, so it was literally half as well, so that was pretty good. But when it comes to 44, I think this is the biggest we've ever had, and in the history of the game, this is like the biggest variety we had, which is again nice. And I hope that once they I hope they nerf Shaman in a decent amount of time, and then we can have a lot more variety as well
in a decent way. So like sorry, go ahead, Reptile.
Yeah, so to add on to the Shaman nerf, if they do end up nerfing Shaman, I believe that Raider is a character that will also see a lot more play in team comps, because she just does what Raider does, but a lot better at the moment.
Yeah, well, I think every character will see more play, because then you have one spot that you don't have to have a player who doesn't necessarily play Shaman. For example, they don't have to play Shaman, then they can play, they can already play like kind of like a Zerker or something like that, but it's a lot.
Someone that has gank potential, because you would want to switch.
And like it looked like every team had a PK, and I don't think the reworked PK is strong enough to be on every team, but because of Shaman, she is. So if Shaman gets nerfed and some teams put her at PK, then that opens up another spot.
Yeah, and once some things with Orochi are fixed, I could see him being like an additional pick as well. Although Orochi hasn't been doing as well as some of us, or especially me, was thinking he would do, but he's still very early on in the character's life, let's say. So we might see more play out of him. I know Newent has been playing him, but I think he's stopped. Because why would you play Orochi when you can just play Shaman, be a Shaman main, and then there's no issue. So yeah, like you're going to see more Raider, maybe more Lawbringer as well. Maybe I don't know if more Lawbringer. Maybe Hanzak's going to start playing Lawbringer again. But aside from Vinx, there hasn't really ever been a Lawbringer at his level. So except Vinx and maybe Hanzak, I don't know if we'd see more Lawbringer in general, but at least he'd be more viable. And
if my team showed up, you would have seen more Lawbringer, because he would be playing Lawbringer.
Yeah,
he was playing with me, but yeah.
Yeah, so that's nice. And then, as you said, Raider, maybe the Orochi after some bug fixes come to him. So that's, if that happens, if that turns out to be true, and they nerf Shaman in a way that doesn't make her bad, which we will be talking what to do with Shaman in the second part of the show. But if they do that and they nerf her in a way that doesn't make her bad, then you have like 12, 13 characters that are being played at the highest level in tournaments. So that's if that again happens, that would be really, really good. Okay, so is there anything else that we would need to talk about? Was there any new talent in this tournament? I don't think there was any, right? I think it was just all the really good teams playing really well, and the top 3 was pretty much what it usually is, and then the 4th team was Bojo, you said Newent's team? Yeah, so it's
with,
the
Quilt, Barricade, and who else?
Treejack,
yeah. So that's a team that the names are not new or anything, but it's it's still nice to see them do well. And then once Reptile, your team, actually shows up for a tournament, you can maybe compete with them as well. So then we have yet another tournament team. And how did Devour's team do? Did they get 5th or?
I think they're 5th.
Yeah,
not 100% sure though.
Yeah, I think.
They got 5th.
Yeah, so there was at least 5 very, very high level teams in this tournament, and then once Reptile's team actually again shows up, it's going to be a 6th. And then actually, before we finish this segment, what was really cool is that I think
you forgot about Lennon's team as well.
Yeah, but I said good.
They are pretty good. I mean, have you streamed them lately? They have been improving quite a lot.
I played with Mamba Infusion on console. I think that's enough. No, of course. Yeah, I did actually forget about the team. I'm not actually trying to BM. So yeah, that's already 6, and then a 7th team, maybe someone else. You know, because there is enough players for maybe 1 or 2 more teams as well. And yeah, before we end this segment, what struck me as really cool in this tournament is that the Russians had like 3 or 4 teams. I think they fielded like 3 teams, and I think it was all Pride as well.
I think only there's 3 teams.
Yeah, is their name Saints now or Pride? I keep forgetting.
There's a team with Saints though.
Okay, well, either way, the Russians, let's call them. Let's say that's the name. The Russians ended up having a lot of teams where usually they have like 1, maybe 2, and this time they had 3, and that's nice. And also there was Oscar's team, that's someone in the chat is saying, so maybe that's a very, very new team, right? So maybe they will end up improving and doing well in some tournaments as well. So there's a lot of variety both in team comps and in teams, period. The amount of teams and the level of teams is also slowly but surely rising. So okay, I think for the tournament that's about it. Unless you guys have anything else you would like to add. Oh, actually, about the tournament, there's going to be another tournament, which is I think going to be called like Ender Games or something. That's not
Ender's tournament.
Yeah.
Oh, Ender Games. He changed it.
Yeah, I think he changed to Ender Games. So. That's going to be a tournament. When is it, Petrat?
This Saturday, June 9th at 1 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, there you go. 1 p.m. Eastern, June 9th. There's going to be a 4v4 Dominion tournament by Ender. And that's PC tournament, of course. So that's going to be... I think everyone here is going to be participating in it. I know, Reptil, will you be playing in it? Or will you team...
If my team shows up.
Okay. If your team shows up, you'll be playing in it. So I think everyone here should be playing in it.
I posted it in Twitch chat with the link.
Yeah, nice. Okay, yeah, I'll post it after the podcast is over as well to remind people. But yeah, that would be the next big tournament going on. Is there any other?
And if you need any teams, just message me on Discord.
Yeah, Budget knows many people. He can find you a team very easily if you're struggling for either if you're struggling for one player and you need one, or if you're looking for a team. Either way, he'll be able to help you. So you can message him on Discord or somewhere. Okay, so I think that should be about it for the first part of the podcast. Now we're going to be taking the usual 4 or 5 minute break. And after that, we will be coming back and talking about what we think the game still needs. Because the past few weeks, we've been talking about the good things in the game, mostly. But last week we talked about what did we talk about last week? Oh yeah, what makes the game good, right? What makes it competitive and skillful and deep. And this time we will be talking about what the game still needs, what are some of the issues with it. We will not be going too far into like character redesigns or anything like that. It will be mostly about the game itself and some things about the balance, like Shaman needing a nerf and how we would nerf her. And then at the end of the segment, all of us will pick one character, and we will be talking about that one character and what we think are the issues right now with the character and what needs to be changed about it. So that will be the second part of the podcast today. Okay, is everything all right? Is everything working?
Okay.
Let's see.
Probably not.
Probably not. Okay, what is the issue? Does this work? No, this doesn't work. Wait, let me go back.
All right.
Okay. It's okay. This is used to. We are used to this here. Now, does this work? This works. Okay, we can talk about what needs changing in this very scene. Okay, so this is the second part of the podcast, which, as I said before the break, is going to be all about what needs changing in the game. And this is going to be small things, well, quote unquote small things like UI or revenge, but they're actually really big, right? But technically small things as you could think of. Then there's going to be that, and then at the end of this segment, as I said, we'll be all choosing one character and talking about the changes and the issues that it has right now and the change that it needs, or we think it needs. And there will be the Q&A at the end. Okay, so let's start with the big one. Actually, I think with UI. I think that's what I want to start with, because this is, you could think that's not a big issue, but I think it's one of the biggest ones, aside from maybe like character balance and stuff like that, but that's not even that big of an issue anymore. At least at the good characters are not that much of an issue. It's that some of the characters are still bad, but I think UI is probably the biggest thing that they can change without changing the design of the game. So
definitely.
Okay, so Scorpion, why don't you start talking about the UI and some of the things that are the issues right now?
Oh boy, I mean, there's
some of the
10,000
issues.
different issues with the UI. Let me just pick one out from Baraffle here. So I think one issue is that you do not know how much revenge everyone has. I think the revenge bar really needs to be visible. Like, you have so many situations where you have someone like one hit from dead, you get the bash to secure the kill, but then they get revenge and they pop it and you fall and they kill you. And you had no way of playing around it at all. The bar needs to be visible so you have some counterplay to it. And you got people as well, like you got someone going from one fight to another, carrying the revenge from the first fight. Well, people in the second fight don't know that. They don't realize that guy's coming in with revenge. It's just like not all information in the game needs to be available, of course, but this one feels really important. Like it feels super cheap when you die to an unexpected revenge proc that someone got.
Yeah, if I could tell you how many times I've done Kinsei Hilt Bash I already input my light and they get revenge off the bash, and I've died to that, that would be a lot of numbers.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, that also sounds to me at least like a change that would be very, very easy to implement. Of course, again, I'm not Ubisoft. I don't actually know whether this is easy or not. But there's already something like that in the game, right? Well, obviously there's stamina. That's the first thing, that you can see your opponent's stamina. You can see your opponent's feats as well, whether they have them or not, whether they are off cooldown or not. So I don't exactly think that would be a big issue, at least like technically. Like technical wise, there may be issues like maybe with they would be slightly scared of cluttering the screen with information, stuff like that. I don't think that would be a valid concern, but that could be a concern. But I don't.
If they had concerns cluttering the screen, they would have.
There's
a lot of things by now.
Yeah, speaking of cluttering the screen, the breaking state. There's everything about it. The skulls when you die, that I've had. It's not like that. That's not the thing that would like change a game or anything. Whereas showing a revenge bar would change how we play the game, but it's probably like the second most frustrating thing where you just when it comes to UI. Actually, no, the third, because the indicators as well. But there's a lot of situations where if a team is breaking and someone dies, there's a huge skull, and it just so happens to be over your indicators. So sometimes you cannot see a guard break, you cannot see a light attack. A heavy you're gonna be able to see, but like a guard break or a light attack or a zone, you're not gonna be able to see that. So not only does it mask the indicator, it sometimes also masks the animation, so you can't even really tell by animation. And since this breaking is probably a situation where that's a very tense game, losing or winning situation. So those things can affect games very, very much. Okay, so I think when it comes to breaking, what do you guys think should be done about if there's anything that should be done about when it comes to breaking, anything else besides the breaking skulls?
I think the skulls, like, I don't know why they even had it in the first place, because once someone dies, the portrait, it gets blackened out. So you clearly you know your team member died. So I don't know why they have a huge skull just blocking half your screen to tell you that someone died on your team. It's too much.
I think the reason could be that I heard them talking about, I think it was on a dev stream or something, that the people look at the middle of the screen the most, like especially when they're new. They don't even look at like the other, they only look at the indicators. So maybe like showing them the skull like pretty much at the indicators would be their way of being, oh yeah, by the way, there's someone dead. But that's still pretty stupid. So that's something that needs changing as well. This again probably wouldn't be an issue at all to change. It's literally just removing something.
Yeah, it affects them, like, once they start getting used to the game, it actually affects them more than it helps them. So...
Yeah. Okay, Bodrat, can you give me another thing that we have?
Oh, okay. A big one is indicators disappearing when you're getting attacked by more than 2 people. Like, this wasn't a huge issue before. I don't know if it's just me, but, like, unblockables just disappear way more often than they used to. Like, if you're getting ganked and 2 people throw unblockables, it just completely disappears. They're like, oh, he probably fainted it. But nope, at the last second, just whacks you in the face with 50 damage, and you just die. Like, this was never this significant before. What do you guys think? Like,
yeah, my big issue with unblockable indicators disappearing is also that the unblockable indicators disappear because the Nobushi 10 meters away from me throws a zone at somebody else, and I get an indicator for it, making the unblockable indicators disappear. Like that's one of the things that pisses me off. Why do I need to know that the Nobu's throwing a zone that will never hit me?
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously, like game-wise, is because she's locked onto you, right? That's why they're showing you the indicator, or you looked onto her, either one. But yeah, like that, there needs to be some changes. Like, Scar, what do you think should be changed about that?
Just show them all. Show me every indicator.
Yeah,
I agree completely with that one. I want every indicator.
Yeah, like don't make them disappear. Like it's very
especially
annoying.
Unblockables. Like that's really significant because like if you're showing multiple indicators, sure, like you'll block them. But if it's an unblockable, you're not blocking that. And majority of the unblockables do a lot of damage.
Yeah, like a lot of the time, what happens is that there's a Kensei or a Raider or someone behind you, and you don't even know if they're in range or not, because again they're behind you, but maybe they're in range. They start the unblockable. Then someone, the person you're looking at, he for example throws a light, so then the indicator disappears. So you think, oh, okay, so everything's fine. I can just block the light, and everything's going to be okay. I guess he fainted it, but then you get hit with it anyway. Even if you did block the light, right? You would have to parry the light for that to be a thing. Yeah. So it's just why? Just show me every indicator that is happening.
Yeah, I mean, in any case, you could just make the indicator that would hit you first, like another color, or make it obvious that it's the one that's going to hit you first, but still show every indicator that's coming at you.
Yeah, either make it a different color or make it different size, the indicator itself. That was the one thing that was, when I was thinking of this, that was one thing that they came up with, making something like a different sized indicator, because they've I think they said like it takes a long time to do these like color changes, like with the deflect, not the deflect, the undodgeable property. It took a long time to do that, like the effect itself for the undodgeable. So and there might be issues with like colorblind people. I don't know how that would work out. So maybe making the indicators slightly bigger if the attack is going to hit you, and slightly smaller if it's not going to hit you, something like that, or like if it's going to hit you later, something like that would maybe help. But either way, that needs to be changed, right? That's something that there's no like, oh, maybe this is good, maybe this is fine, but no, this just needs to be changed. And it's a very, very annoying thing as well. Like this is annoying for us at the top level, but I'm sure this is even more annoying for players who can already like barely block and parry even slow attacks, and then attacks are just disappearing on them and they don't know what's going on. Because again, one of the other things that's bad about the game is that there is no explanation for half the mechanics of the game anywhere within said game. So they just confused what's going on. Like, did I just not parry that? Did I not block it, or what's going on? And then it disappeared, so they had no way of knowing that it was going to hit them.
Mm-hmm. For your point about how nothing is explained in the game, one of the big things that you always hear more casual people complaining about is that they can't parry attacks that are not locked onto them, when that's an intended game mechanic there. Everything's working fine there, and it's healthy for the game. It allows people to actually attack much more often. It rewards good positioning. People can actually be aggressive, because suddenly you're not going to have to risk 3 different people parrying your one attack. You only have to worry about one of them.
Yeah.
Or maybe even 0 if you position yourself properly. But people complain about that all the time, and there's no education on the matter. There's no education on anything in the game, and they have the new training mode, and it's just a terrible job at explaining everything. It really does not tell you shit.
Yeah, I'm sure the training mode is at least slightly useful for the players who are like slightly newer, and but it's not useful for learning the game mechanics. It might be useful, for example, learning the moveset of a character or something like that, but it's not useful for knowing that, oh, if I target switch, the person in between us can't parry me or anything like that. And there's a lot of players, even in tournaments, like global level players who join tournaments, especially on console. That's not really a thing on PC, but on console, that just say, like before the tournament, even today before the 2v2 tournament, someone was very surprised that target switching and making attacks unparryable for one guy is not banned in the 2v2 tournament. Someone was very surprised about that. So even like a lower tournament level, something like that is a thing. At pretty much at casual level. It's not really tournament level, but it's very annoying for people not to actually know the game. Like, if they see an indicator, they try to parry, so technically everything should be fine. Technically they should be able to parry, but no, the guy wasn't locked on, and maybe it was obvious that he wasn't locked on, but they wouldn't know. Like, the first couple of times it's going to happen, they might blame themselves, but then they're going to start blaming the game, that there's something going wrong with it. But no, it's actually working just fine how it's supposed to. So it's a really big issue, I think, like with just no educational material available for the game within the game. There's been a decent amount of educational material when it comes to guides and things like that recently. There's a couple, there's just a couple guides that have come out recently, and there's going to be more coming with my videos, and I'm sure some other things, like Freeze does videos that are pretty good as well for that. But he doesn't, he does nice videos when it comes to like frames and like recently I think he did a video on delaying things. So all of that's nice, but it's it's not the very basics, and there's just nowhere to learn about the very basics of the game. And I would call something, not being able to parry that attack that's not locked onto you, that's a pretty basic thing about the game. Okay, so we've moved off of UI, so we've kind of moved on from the UI very, very quickly. Is there anything about the UI itself that you guys think is changing on top of the things that we already talked about?
I would like an option to be able to scale it, because in my opinion, it's pretty big overall. So it would be nice if we had an option to change that to our liking.
Yeah, it's not really specifically for me. I didn't really see it as much of an issue for me, but yeah, I mean, if that's an issue for anyone, that more option is good.
I'm watching the stream right now. You're playing the gameplay of the 4v4 tournament, and you're like in a fucking like mission command center. You got all this shit in the corners of your screen, filling up.
And then the moment then we break, and then like someone takes a point.
Yeah, then you add the teams on the side when breaking, and now you got a third of your screen left.
I'm just noticing right now too, like when you're killing the minion, it's hitting +1 × 2, +1 × 2, +1 × 2. Like we do not want to know that.
No, I want to know that so I can call it out to my team. That's a very very important thing to call out.
Like there should be a way to like turn off certain stuff because some people don't like that much UI. Like I don't like when I parry a light attack, my whole screen flashes white. Personally, I don't like that. So I would like some way to turn some of the UI off.
Yeah, you can already do that a little bit, but nowhere near the level that would be needed. And you cannot scale at all, I don't think. So yeah, being able to scale the entire thing and then being able on top of that to scale, okay, maybe I want the radar to be the same, but I want other things to be smaller, something like that. Yeah, that would be, the more options there are, the better for the game. Okay, anything else about the UI? We talked about the breaking state already being the indicators, revenge, revenge bar needing to be shown. I think that's about it. Yeah, okay, so the next thing is, let's see. Okay, let's talk about revenge next, actually. So we talked about the revenge bar, so that this works well within the context of revenge. So about revenge, what are the things that you guys think should be changed about it, if anything?
Okay, one of my I'll start with the smaller things, actually, like small quality of life things about revenge. Something really, really annoying about it is the auto parry. You pop revenge and you parry all attacks coming at you for I think it's like a little under a second. So yeah, a lot of people think it's bugged. When it doesn't parry stuff, they're like, oh, it broke again. Oh, it's so buggy. The funny thing is, there's actually 0 bugs with auto parry. It works flawlessly every time. But the issue is, one of the ways to disable the auto parry window is to change your guard. And I don't know why that's a thing.
I don't know.
I can't even begin to take a guess on why, but yeah, you change your guard and you are no longer auto parrying. So that should go.
Yeah, so almost anytime, if you're using auto parry and it didn't auto parry for you, that's probably the reason. If you didn't know, it's really
it's actually really hard to deal with, especially for like playing on mouse, like since it's a lot more sensitive to change your guard. So what I do when I play on mouse and keyboards, I literally just let go of my mouse and press another button so they actually get knocked down. So that should be fixed. Please, Yubi.
Please, if you're listening, please. Okay, so what else?
Another problem that I have, moving away from quality of life more to just like overall issues, is that awkward moment where someone is holding on to their revenge and your team doesn't really have a good way to bait them out of it, and the whole game just slows down for like 20 seconds. You should not be able to hold on to your revenge forever. Right now, as long as you're locked on to someone, your revenge bar will not go down. It should eventually go down no matter what. So that way, your opponents have to pick between either doing something to bait it out of you and saving some seconds, or getting stalled for even longer, but still eventually having that revenge popped on them.
Yeah,
it's too powerful, right? You get into a position where just because of the state of your revenge, even though you're outmanned in the fight, you're now at an advantage just because you can hold on to this, and there's nothing they can do about you holding on to that.
Yeah,
like Score was saying, like it slows down the matchup like a lot because you can't attack the guy with the revenge because eventually he's going to use it on you and you're scared. So there should be like a timer to it, like say 10 seconds where you have to pop the revenge or it's gone, where it slowly goes down.
Yeah, I want to add on to that as well. Like if you win a team fight and you didn't use your revenge and you're a mid clearer, you just start killing minions and you never lose your revenge.
Yeah, you just for anyone that didn't know that, the way it works is like, if you're locked on and you're killing minions, then you will never lose your revenge.
Yeah, it'll never go down.
Yeah, sometimes in some of the games, I almost have revenge right out after a fight, and I just tell my team, "Yo, do whatever." I will just sit in mid, and I just sometimes if they don't come to me, I just sit in mid for 2 or 3 minutes, just killing minions. So I just leave, so I stay with revenge, and then there's 2 people coming to me, and and they, they think, okay, well, let's gank this guy. He's like way out in the open, but then no, you messed up. You didn't know that 3 minutes earlier I almost had revenge. So I just get hit once, I pop it, and then they can't gank me anymore, and it's a real, or maybe I don't pop it, and then on top of that, right, on top of being able to keep it forever now, off of minions, now I can keep it forever as I've got it. So there's just such a bad way, like such a bad mechanic, when it comes to that. It's a really annoying thing. Okay.
I know there's a lot of talk in the community about, I see all the time on Reddit different ideas for what they think should be done to revenge. So I think it would be interesting if we touched on our own opinions on the current state of how good revenge is at stopping CCs and everything. So Bodred, are you happy right now with how well revenge works against CCs and attacks and all that?
In terms of revenge gain, when you're getting actually CC through bashes, I'm fine with it as long as there's no gear, because it actually makes you play smarter. Like, you're not just spamming one attack to CC the person, because once you get hit once, they can consistently put you in a stun lock, like you see in in the past where in 2v2 tournaments, once you get bashed once by a conk and there's a PK on the team, you're in a stun lock and you're dead, since there's revenge. What I have a problem with is in 1v1s, when you're a pure 1v1, and that's when you can't even use your unblockables or any bash you have, because eventually they're going to get revenge. So it just turtles out the fight a lot. And what I want to see change there is basically no revenge gains in a pure 1v1. You might guys have different opinions, but that's what I think right now.
Yeah, it's definitely an issue for sure. When I'm playing Forest, typically, as long as they're not already low, if I show up to a point and I'm in a 1v1 at that point and we're both full health, I don't even attack, because they're gonna get revenge before I kill them. Why would I attack them? I literally sit for and wait until either my team shows up or theirs does, because there's zero incentive for me to attack. I cannot kill them before they get revenge, no matter what hero I'm playing, if they're good enough at defending, of course.
Yeah. Instead of making it so that you get no revenge in 1v1s, what I would like rather than that is drastically lowering the amount of revenge you get from a bash in 1v1. As I think the attacks, the amount you get from attacks may be okay, or maybe you can lower that as well. But the bashes, you just alarm block, you just can't really use them.
Well, I think attacks are an issue too. If I'm playing PK or Nobu, I just never attack, because through blocking enough lights and heavies and guard breaks and all that, they will get revenge.
Yeah, that's a good point, because one 4v4 tournament, I was at a point with Nuinto. He's playing PK, I was playing Shaman. So he was attacking me. He didn't do a single damage on me, and I had revenge, and I was still full HP. So
yeah, so maybe
it's
lowering,
not just bashes.
Yeah, so maybe lowering both drastically bashes and lowering the attacks, because would be a way to fix that. Because my issue with just making so that you don't get that in 1v1 is, I think, what you said, Scurry, a while ago. Maybe you change your opinion about it or not, but my opinion stands that I think if you just remove that from 1v1s, then right now, if you almost have revenge in a team fight, you can choose between running away or not, because maybe you almost have revenge, you're low, but you kind of want to heal, but if one person hits you, you're gonna get revenge. But with that wouldn't remove that, because maybe two people hit you, but when they see your revenge, they wouldn't hit you then, most likely at least. So I don't know, I would like it if it was lowered enough in 1v1 to where it almost wouldn't matter in an actual 1v1. But when you just need 1 or 2 or whatever points of revenge or whatever it's calculated as, then hitting a bash into a light, for example, a shield bash into a light,
yeah,
would then set off that revenge. but not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, oh, sorry, Badra, go ahead.
All right, I was just gonna say, yeah, that's a good point because, like, say if Aller is really low and 1v1s give no revenge, people are gonna just start saying, "Oh, just 1v1 him. He's only one bar," and make all his revenge go away, or not go away, but positive. So he's actually stuck in a 1v1 now where he wouldn't gain any more at all. But if in Aller's suggestion where you said just give it, like, reduce it significantly, but if you need a little bit just to survive, then it should be fine.
Yeah, this would need testing for the exact number, of course, right? But I think once we, or no, not we, Ubisoft finds the number, I think that would be my preferred design option for that mechanic.
Yeah, I mean, they're reducing the 1v1 revenge gain is one way, cut it in half or a third or whatever. It's done the 1v1 revenge gain multiplier. Another way would be like these ways can, but I got two different ways that I'm going to suggest. Both of them could be challenging UI-wise to implement clearly. So that's the drawback of these ways. But one of them is you have a division in the revenge bar, like let's say 3/4 up the bar, where you can gain 1v1 revenge up to that point. But once you hit that, 1v1 revenge will not increase the bar beyond that point. But let's say you're in a team fight, you get tagged for more than 1v1, and you go above that point. Once you're already above that point, now you can increase to the full bar. I'm not sure if I'm explaining that clearly. Probably
Yeah.
not.
Well, I understood. I don't know if people did at home.
But so basically, a pure 1v1 will fill up your revenge bar up to a point, but not all the way. But if you already have a decent amount of revenge, then a pure 1v1 can fill it up, so that way it more accounts for what Alernakin was saying, like it mid-fight 1v1 taggings. Another way to handle that would be proximity-wise. You add proximity to revenge tags, so that way you use that to separate 1v1 tag in a team fight and a pure 1v1. So if there is only one person within the proximity, then you get no revenge gain. But if there's multiple, then it's the 1v1 revenge gain multiplier. The problem with that is the revenge gain is already very unintuitive. You really need to explain to you to understand how it all works, and that just makes it even more so unintuitive.
Yeah.
So just severely reducing the multiplier on 1v1 revenge gain, it's definitely the simplest solution.
Yeah. Along with all of that, what I would like with any of the changes that we're talking about to game mechanics, I would like it if Ubisoft actually made tutorials in game about that shit. Like in the training media, you see. I think is there a part about revenge? I'm not exactly sure if there is, but if there isn't, then make that. And if there is, then it's obviously not doing it.
Are you talking about the training arena tutorial?
Yeah. The training media. So like the hero fight videos.
And I know there's a part of revenge in like the tutorial thing, but it's like this is how you pop revenge.
Nice.
And that's it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so making it so that there's actual tutorial videos about those kinds of things would make, it not being as intuitive in game probably not the biggest issue, but still, you still want to be able to make people understand what's going on in the game itself. But if that would end up being like the best solution or the solution that Ubisoft likes the most, then it wouldn't be the biggest issue, simply because if they actually make usable educational material in game, they could actually fix that issue. All right. So I don't know. Is there anything else about revenge? Actually, I think there is. But wait, Scars, do you have anything else about revenge?
I have that same feeling where I feel like there is, but I cannot think of anything.
I had something in mind, but this one went on for so long that I forgot.
Okay, well, if we remember, we can mention it later. Let's move on to the next thing. So we did Revenge, we did UI. Now, let's do revives, actually. Because revives shouldn't take long, but this is a pretty big issue. Like, it gets compounded when you look at 2v2, for example. Like, when you see 2v2 tournaments, and the first times, like, after playing a 4v4 tournament, and there's the next tournament is 2v2, so we start off of, we switch off scrimming 4v4 to 2v2. In 4v4, revives are, decent speed, so you have enough time to interrupt, you can play around it. Then you play in 2v2, and you blink, and the guy's up. And you're like, wait, what's going on? So when it comes to the speed in brawls, it's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know about the elimination skirmish, and I wouldn't know.
Yeah, the speed should be all standardized, and they should use Dominion as the main guideline.
It's completely unintuitive. Also, that it's different in different modes. It doesn't make sense, to me at least. But yeah, what are some of the other issues with Revive, guys? What do you think?
Like, we didn't mention it in the UI, but that's another major one. Like, if you're fighting in where there's a revive indicator, this indicator started disappearing because you can't see it because it's blocking the view.
Yeah. It's just revives are too powerful, picking someone up with full health. It's like one of the mistakes that I see weaker teams making, like one of the biggest mistakes, is that they do not respect revives enough. Like, my view of it as I'm fighting, you keep in mind all the objectives around you. Dead bodies are the primary objective. I care about a body on the ground more than I care about the person that I'm fighting, more than I care about any of the points. Because that body will have a bigger impact on the game than any of that. It's just too powerful to pick someone up instantly with full health. So they need to come up with like half health or something like that.
Yeah, half health like Warlord does with auto revive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So real quick here, what do you think about several people can continue the revive? So if you hit one guy that's currently reviving, and then the other guy just holds his revive button, and it just instantly continues.
Well, I think that's fine because that means that they have number advantage. Like, there's two people on the revive from the team that wants to revive, and there's only one on the other side. So for me, that's okay because that means the team that wants to deny a revive made a mistake only sending one person there. So for me, it's okay, but I don't know if you guys disagree or not. But
I would kind of like if the bar just fully reset. Like, it's kind of dumb when you you have the situation of, like, for example, you're out of stem trying to prevent a revive, and well, not even out of stem. Like, you could have stem, and they could just pause for a moment to block your attack, and then keep going. Like, after 3 attacks blocked, they'll get the revive.
Yeah, it's really favored for the guy reviving. Like, even if there's only 1v1, because he can parry you, and eventually, if you keep throwing attacks, you're gonna go out of stem.
Well, you don't even have to parry, because the thing with parrying is you're locking yourself in the parry animation, so you're decaying the bar more. If you just block, you can go right back to reviving after blocking, and you fill it up really quickly. Like, it goes back to what I was saying about revives being the primary objective. Like, killing someone in a fight could end up being a detriment to your team, because you typically need 2 people on a body to at least, like, 2 people or 1 full health person to stop that revive from happening. So it becomes a big burden on your team to watch that body to make sure they don't get that person back. If the bards fully drop down to 0, then 1 person would always be sufficient at stopping it then.
Yeah, like, I kind of agree there too, because I don't like it. Just, you can continue where you left off every time. It just gets really annoying.
Yeah, I can see that. Especially in like brawls and shit, like in Dominion as well, as you guys were saying. But in brawls, it's this issue is compounded so hard that you hit one light attack, they block. You hit another light attack, and the guy's up.
Quick mention as well. We just saw it on your stream as well, Aller. A quick example. Instead of helping your teammate, you decided to just go for the revive because you'll get a full health teammate instead.
Yeah, it's a big objective, as Skro was saying. Okay, so yeah, with the revives, make it this we all agree on, make it half right? I think we all agree with that.
Yeah.
Maybe changing the decaying bar as well to make it, you know, not decay at all, or decaying it faster, whatever other way would work out. Okay, with revives, I think that's about it. Oh, actually,
I have a thing to add on to
Okay.
revives. It's not really like revive related, but kinda. It's how death animations.
yeah, I was about to
Yeah.
say actually, yeah, go
Oh,
for
yeah.
that. Yeah, go for it.
Oh yeah, no. I just wanted to put it up there as a discussion topic as like
Oh.
what do you think about current death animations being so long for no real reason.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, like if you're, this isn't only with breaking, but it's the most annoying when breaking, when you die, but you don't really die, and you break, your team breaks after you die, but not after you really died, so you're still dead. And there's actually serves no gameplay purpose except just being super annoying, and that needs changing really quickly, I think, as that doesn't sound as big of an issue, but well, first of all, the revive thing is lying to you because it says you can revive because the timer is ticking, but you can't revive because the guy is not really dead. And second of all, it can sometimes decides games where it's, for example, one team is breaking, they have 4 people, and they get the other team breaking, and someone just dies before breaking, but he's still dead. And now, well, 3v4, how do you win that, right? Like
It's really inconsistent too, because like sometimes like you can revive right away, and sometimes you can't. It's like the game's like, you're dead, but wait, you got one more heartbeat left.
And you just
Let's-
sit there
let's
for
wait a
like
little.
10 seconds while you're already laying on the ground,
Yeah.
and not moving. And then,
Yeah.
oh, now I can revive.
you need to go through the whole fucking process of rigor mortis before you're actually dead in this game. So it's a big one. But yeah, like that's less of, well, I don't know, as I said, it's kind of decide games, but it's the biggest issue with that, I think, is like it's so annoying. It just feels so cheap to lose a game to something like that, and it serves no gameplay purpose. And I think,
Annoying and very inconsistent, which is not good if you want to make a game competitive.
yeah.
Quick note as well on something when we're talking about annoying, getting like executed when you die while feinting an attack.
Oh yeah,
Remember
that's a great one. So to anyone watching, if you were ever executed after you died to a not execution, what happens? You were trying to feint an attack, and now you're dead. Let's go.
Yeah, because like when you're dead, like you can deny a revive by holding the feint
for
button.
some reason.
So it reads it before. That's why you quote unquote deny the revive before you even died. Good fight.
It's like your character thinks you're dead, so you're denying the revive, but the game doesn't think you're dead, and whatever. Like it's really bad, and that needs to be changed as well. Okay, so one last big one, I think, is feats, and we don't have that much time, so we'll just be going through the biggest feats, the strongest feats, I mean, that are an issue at a high level, and then we'll go to the quality of life things, and maybe shaman as well. Well, actually, shaman's a big one as well. So, okay, so feats. So the biggest ones that are issues right now are fiat lugs, of course. It should not be able to kill minions. It just makes some things ridiculous. You don't have to like, as you're seeing on stream right now, like if I'm on A right now and I'm a Lawbringer, I don't have to interact with mid to get mid, or or on PK or whatever other character with fiat lugs. I don't have to interact with mid and interact with the minions to kill minions and get mid. All I have to do is I track a bomb from like 200 meters away, and now they're all dead, and we got mid. That needs fixing when it comes to feats, for sure.
Yeah, at least that's a very big issue when it comes to fiat, especially just
Yeah.
because low cooldown, pretty big bomb actually. It clears at least one big side of the wave.
Yep, that needs changing when it comes to fiat. My personal others are when it comes to traps. I think there should be a limit on how many traps you can have. So right now there's just no limit. I think if there were a limit of 3 traps, and if you place a 4th
2 or
one,
3 per like.
I think 3 is still too much. Like, just imagine walking onto a point where there's 3 stun traps. You're still not getting that point.
Yeah, I think it should be 2, like
Yeah,
2
it
stun
needs to be
traps and 2
yeah, or
2
two.
bear traps. As much as I love traps, like they need to be nerf.
Oh,
Like
you love traps.
You
do
love
you?
traps, huh?
So like right now you can pull like multiple traps and there's no limit at all.
Yeah.
But what I would like to see is like you're not like say if you put a trap down, the first trap you put down gets deleted if you want to put down another trap. Because
Yeah.
that way, like if someone knows there's a trap there, they'll never pop it the whole game knowing that you can never get another trap. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's when it comes to traps. I think that's about it. So other feats. Do you guys have anything else?
I got a big problem with how feat damage is calculated.
Mm-hmm.
Feat damage is affected by the revenge multiplier. There's like a 1.3 multiplier in your damage and revenge. It gets multiplied by that. Buffs, like Battle Cry and Morale Booster, Inspire, all that. Debuffs, Fear itself, Chilling Stare, all of that stuff affects feat damage, and it can just boost it to ridiculous levels. I think feat damage needs to be static.
Yeah.
Like, for example, if you have Morale Booster active and you throw a Pugno Mortis, that's 90 damage to everybody in it.
Yeah.
Let's say your team has Scout active as well. That Pugno is doing 120 damage now. It will one-shot a large number of the cast with just a couple of feats active. It should always just do its base damage.
Yeah, I agree with that. That also makes it much more consistent. So you won't see people who don't know this, right? You won't see people being like, wait, what happened? I thought this feat only did this much damage, but apparently deals fucking twice as much. So it's also
like
a lot.
Gear stats.
Yeah, well, gear stats, that's a quality of life thing, because the only thing that we can really say about them is remove them. And maybe replace with something else, maybe just remove completely. Either way, remove gear stats. But okay, so when it comes to feats, what else? Oh, actually, Chilling Stare.
I have two questions. Yeah, I have two questions in chat about some feats. Like, what do we think about Chilling Stare's cooldown?
Yeah, like I think both Chilling Stare and Unblockable need to have a higher cooldown, because right now they're both like 90 seconds, right? Which is insane.
Yeah, Unblockable definitely higher cooldown. Chilling Stare, I don't know if the cooldown is the issue. I have an idea for a more interesting nerf to it than just making it a longer cooldown. Its cooldown is in line with every tier 2 feats. So I would kind of like that to stay. My idea for nerfing Chilling is the person that you put it on is not affected by the debuff. So that way, there's a choice there. You have this one person who is effective in a fight, but their presence in the fight is making their team weaker. So if they could go away and be a man down or whatever, if there's more options there than just, well, we're fucked, they have Chilling.
Yeah.
And then as well, it doesn't make it any useful in a 1v1 because it doesn't affect that person that you put it on.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, sure, that works fine. That works fine, I think. That's definitely a much more interesting idea than just lowering making the cooldown higher. And when it comes to Unblockable, what should be the cooldown? What's the cooldown for something like Fire Trap or Fire Flash? Is it 2 minutes 30 or is it 3 minutes?
Fire Trap cooldown probably go up to. Fire Trap also has the 90-second cooldown.
Oh, really? I actually never noticed. Okay, so
that needs to go down.
Yeah, so go down. Yeah, I agree. But
the
60 seconds.
Standard for tier 4 feats is usually 3 minutes.
Yeah, so just make it
3
minutes.
Being 90 seconds, they're at half of that.
Nice.
There are some at 2 minutes. I can't remember which ones are 2, which are 3, but they're usually 3 at tier 4.
Okay. Yeah, so like 2:30 or 3 minutes. Yeah, just make it like that, and it's fine for both of them.
Yeah. So, Spear Storm. Apparently, it is silent at target location. Do you think it should have a more clear indicator that Spear Storm is coming?
The radius needs to be bigger, like for longer too, like Catapult. You should be able to see the radius for longer.
I don't think that's
necessarily know about that because it covers less of an area than Catapult, right? So, like, if you have more warning, then it's very trivial to avoid. But there definitely should be a sound warning to it.
Yeah, I think it's only if
you can only hear the sound if you're next to the Highlander that's casting it.
Which is great. It's great. That's the counterplay to it.
One hits you.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that needs to be changed.
Right. What about Ki? Do we think anything specific about Ki?
Yeah, I think it should be. Well, I have two ideas, and I think one of them is bad. But one idea is making it so that it's a one target thing. So I think that's the good idea.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Single target.
Yeah, I think that's the good idea. The bad idea, I think, is making it affect everyone, like both teammates and opponents. And the reason I think is that's a bad idea because I don't think it fixes like being ganked and using it. So making it the one target thing, I think, would be just a fine fix.
Yeah, I think single target because it's a tier 1 feat. So.
Yeah, just making a single target thing. It's.
I mean, I kind of like it because it makes Orochi hard to 2v1 and lets him stall better.
Yeah.
I
don't really know that it needs nerfs. Like, yeah, it's an incredibly powerful feat, but is it making Orochi or Shinobi broken? No.
Well, but I don't think we should ignore things that are I think it's too strong, and I do think like making Orochi and Shinobi better in other ways and then nerfing the feats, or I don't know but the other way around.
I think the feat is like I think it's too strong in an interesting way, right? Like it's changing the way you play against that hero, and it's changing the way you play that hero. Like it's not just that the feat itself is too strong. The feat is more defining the hero.
Yeah, but
and I think that's
I think if it were a one target thing in a 2v1, you still wouldn't be ganking him very easily, because if the guy who's out of stamina tries to guard break, unless it's a PK with the new PK guard break bug or whatever it is, I assume it's a bug. Then if the guy tries to guard break or help his teammate in any way, then obviously he will be interrupted with like a double light or a one light into hitting the other guy or something like that. So I think that strength would still be there, being very difficult to gank, and on top of that you still have either kunai or smoke bomb that are both, especially smoke bomb, really good against ganks. But I just think it's too strong, and it's very, very frustrating to play against as well, especially for lower level players. I think I'm not exactly sure here, but I would assume it would be very, very difficult and just annoying to play against for lower level players. So I agree with you that it creates that's like interesting with the way it works. With like when I played Orochi, like I would always think about my feats for almost, I think the first time, thinking about them as an extension of my moveset rather than just an addition to it. So I like that aspect, but I do think it should be nerfed in a way that doesn't make it bad, and I think that still retains the identity but makes it a lot less annoying to play against, while still having the same kinds of strengths. But if you have 3 people on the Orochi, now you can gank him, kind of thing. But yeah, either way, I don't know if
So moving on to another feat that Kawhi just mentioned, Rock Steady.
What
about this feat, team?
Well, it's been nerfed with the nerf of parries, right? So I don't know if it needs changing.
I think Rocksteady's fine. Like Aller said, just because of the parry changes, it got indirectly nerfed, so I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah, in fact, now I view it as a really interesting feat where, like, the only really good use of Rocksteady now is, well, aside from countering, like, a Lawbreaker game, for example, it makes you have a really easy way to bait out revenge, because you could just keep attacking someone and they can never knock you down with their revenge shots. They're eventually going to have to pop it on you as long as you keep attacking them. So, it gives Aramusha and Shigoki that unique ability to be useful against someone holding on to revenge.
Yeah. I don't see an issue with it as much anymore as I did in the past. So
I think it's really good to make set makes misses punishes.
Oh yeah, that's free shots right there. That's
free shots.
That's free shots. Yeah, I mean that's the thing that I think we all do. At least I know I do. Anytime I play against Rocksteady seldom that I always mess it up at least once or twice a game if I'm fighting an Ramusha or a Shugoki. Okay, so about feats.
There's actually some feats I don't know if we really mentioned, but yeah.
Well, the one that we definitely want to talk about is Pantra.
Yeah, exactly.
And
but
right now,
as well.
I think Shilbash is fine. Like it's Haymaker pretty much. I think it's fine.
Shilbash fine. The only thing Pantra like, in order to fix it, you just make it how it is when the person dies.
Yeah.
It doesn't continue on chain. Right now, if you get punched through, you can continue your light chain even if it's blocked. But if you die with once getting punched through, it does not continue. So just make it so it does not continue, and it'll be fine.
I think another thing that would have to be changed then, however, is that after death, where the lights do not continue, where they bounce off a block, now the light punch through does 5 damage instead of 10. That would have to be changed up to 10 as well.
Yep.
Oh, that's it. Actually, I've noticed that.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess Kongs never die in my game, so I never noticed. But, okay, well that's the thing then. Yeah, that of course needs to be changed as well. Okay, so are there any other feats that are like too strong in some ways? Because there's other feats that are just terrible, right? But are there any other feats that you guys think are too strong in some ways that need changing, or is that mostly it?
Yeah, dude. Arrow Storm is too good. It kills me every time.
I think we talked about the majority of the ones that are.
Yeah, if there might have been one that we forgot some aspect of it, but generally speaking, I think. Oh, actually, about Second Wind, I like that it like deals with bleed of characters, so like Shaman bleed, PK, any kind of bleed, but I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of it dealing with bleed of feats. So when you like get nail bombed, you don't care because you just use Second Wind. But I don't know if that's an issue with nail bomb or that's an issue with Second Wind. But I don't like that interaction at all. But then again, I do kind of like the interaction of it against like Sharpened Blade, where you don't just die from 2 lights. So I'm not exactly sure how that would work.
I mean, I like it just because there's counterplay to those feats, like say nail bomb or Sharpened Blade. If you have Second Wind.
Yeah, with Sharpened, the thing with Sharpened Blade, I agree, but I don't necessarily agree with nail bomb.
Yeah, I don't agree with nail bomb either.
But
I think that's too hard of a counter.
Yeah, but I think that might be an issue with nail bomb itself rather than Second Wind. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think yeah, sure. If nail bomb didn't deal most of its damage in bleed like it does, yeah, it wouldn't be as big of an issue. In that case, at least.
Yeah. Maybe adding, like, as someone said, I think Melty said, thank you Melty for the suggestion. As Melty said, like adding a cap on removal bleed for Second Wind, something like that, where it still makes it, like a good feat against nail bomb, against Sharpened Blade, but it doesn't, destroy the entire damage that was dealt. Something like that, maybe. But yeah, like that specific interaction, I'm really not a fan of. Like, it's a tier 4 feat. Like, when I use Nail Bomb and they just Second Wind, it makes me feel like I'm sitting in Stalwart Banner. Because in Stalwart Banner, I'm sitting there, I get bled by a shaman, I get pounced, and then there's someone there next to the shaman, and they do their heavies, and I don't heal the entire time because Stalwart Banner is a really good feat. So I'm sitting in my tier 4 feat that I spent the entire game trying to get, and then I'm dead. So that's kind of annoying. But I think for feats that should be about it. Now when it comes to quality of life things, by quality of life I here mean that it's easy fixes, not that it's small fixes necessarily. So when it comes to those things, Shaman, I think that's a pretty easy fix, but it's a really big one. Shaman ganks are too strong right now. So making it so that you can activate Revenge after 1 heavy, or making just so that...
Or activate Revenge as soon as the first hit hits you, like how it is with like Raider Charger or anything.
Yeah.
So basically if the Shaman bites you first and gets that 50 damage, you can pop Revenge right away. Or if enemy hits you when you're in the pounce animation, you can pop
I think it should still guarantee 1 heavy. I think it should be...
Is that not what Bo just said? Sorry, I wasn't listening.
No, Badra was saying that that you could pop it as soon as the bite goes off.
Oh yeah, I think it should still give 1 heavy, because then it still makes it like a very, very strong like ganking tool, as in that's like her thing, but it doesn't make it as broken as this right now, and maybe there would be other picks then.
Yeah.
I know, but that's what you meant, and
yeah, but I was getting there. Like, I was just saying how
Okay.
Revenge needs to be popped. Because right now it shuts down Revenge too hard. Like, you can get Revenge and get pounced and take 120 damage. So
yeah. So yeah, that needs fixing, but I think that that's about it. when it comes to shaman ganks.
I think we all agree like you should never get like 2 heavies plus shaman.
Yeah, that's 50 damage plus 2 heavies. Yeah, it's pretty good. So that's about it for it comes to shaman, I think, unless someone else has. Yeah,
I mean, she's a really well designed character outside of the strength of her game. So
yeah. Okay, next quality of life thing. I mentioned this before, but gear stats, they just need to be removed. And maybe replaced with something else. Of course, Ubisoft, like, just removing it would probably to take the sales down a little bit. I wouldn't know, maybe. But yeah, doing something with gear stats so that they don't fucking exist anymore would be good. They're absolutely retarded. They're one of the reasons I don't, I almost never play matchmaking. I don't enjoy having to guess every time what my opponent's damage is going to be. So that needs to be fixed, and in whatever way. Okay, what else is there? Like small things. We talked about
not a small thing, but a big thing that we haven't talked about that the game really needs is spectator mode.
Oh yeah. It's been so long that we've wanted it that I forgot about it.
Yeah, we just forgot about it. Like, we were starting to accept the fact that nothing ever changes in this game.
Yeah, that needs to happen. That's like, right now we cannot have big 4v4 tournaments online, and LANs only happen like once a year on console, or if Ubisoft decides to make a tournament. Other than that, they never, LANs never exist. So we can just it's just impossible to have a 4v4 tournament. No sponsors are going to ever want to do a 4v4 tournament. And there's been sponsors on 2v2 tournaments many times. Like the 2v2 on Xbox, well, I assume PS4 as well. The For Honor console 2v2 had, I think, 2 sponsors, or at least one. There was a 2v2 in the past by Mistress that had a sponsor. So they're, finding sponsors probably wouldn't be the hardest thing, but right now it's just impossible, because why would they ever want to sponsor a tournament that they don't get to be a part of, not that they get to be like streaming it, or having their own overlay or whatever like that. And then that would also, spectator mode, on top of making it possible to actually have big tournaments, it would also make it so that you can have a lot better content, like on Twitch or on YouTube. Like, if there's a scrim going on, I could just join the scrim and commentate it, whether it is on YouTube or it is on Twitch or whatever, and there would be a lot more of that going on, which is right now just not possible. I can't just join a scrim and commentate it unless I'm restreaming someone else's stream, so it doesn't really work. So that should be a priority from like the technical standpoint, but I wouldn't know how difficult it is to do. I hope it's not impossibly difficult. I hope it actually happens one day. Okay, what else do we have for like quality of life things? And by quality of life I mean like easy fixes. I was thinking of a couple things, but I may have forgotten them. Does anyone have anything, or are we just done with that and we can go to the character thing? Oh, actually, with minions, you should not be able to guard break fucking minions.
Oh yeah.
Oh fuck.
Oh god.
Yeah, holy shit, that's so dumb. Like, that needs to be fixed. Like that's an easy fix. That just doesn't minion stagger in general. I think it's a good thing, because minion stagger, you said minion stagger in general. That I think minion staggering, so there's an actual drawback to fighting in the enemy minions is good, because if that's not a thing, then I can just, as Nobushi or any other character with body count, I can just sit in their minions and I don't give a fuck that I'm in their minions. But being able to guard break them, that's retarded. That's so bad, and that needs to be changed. Okay, there's Solar in the chat talking about how there's only like a couple maps that are good. Well, that's not a small thing. It's not a small easy fix, but yeah, that would be really good, being able to play on more maps than we have right now. But that's not a small thing. Okay, and I think that should be about it, actually, unless we have anything else. Maybe someone in the chat has anything.
Well, I mean, there's always more, but we gotta cut it off somewhere.
Yeah. I think we've talked about all the bigger things in life, so now we can go to the Q&A. Once I am actually okay, Q&A. Let's go. Oh, actually, no, not Q&A. I'm retarded.
Wait,
Yeah.
Okay. It's okay. I'm forgetting my own format.
Production, okay.
The production is fine. What I meant to say is we can go to the character discussion, and all of us pick one character, and we talk about that character. What should be changed about the character? What are the current issues? So this is not. Hopefully, this is not going to be very long because we don't really have much time. But okay, well, Scar, pick your character and start talking about it then.
Yeah. I'll get my ideas on PK. You know, she is in a pretty good spot right now, but could always be better, of course. And she's on my mind right now because, you know, I play her in tournaments, so on. I play a lot of her. So I have like good ideas of what she needs to get to an even better spot design-wise. And I think a big issue with her is the lack of flow that she has. Like, for example, the new dagger cancel it's surprisingly pretty good. It's difficult to block out if you're distracted by anything going on in the game. But you do the dagger cancel, right? Now you're done. You are sitting there waiting for a second for your recovery to end, and there's nothing you can do. If you could chain off of that, that would add so much flow to her kit. Like, if the dagger cancel was a chain starter, I think that would immensely improve PK. Like, think of Valk Shield Crush, right? No matter when the Valk does the Shield Crush, whether at the beginning of the chain or the end, it puts her back to the second part of the chain. If Dagger Cancel worked that same way, that would be really, really cool. It would open up so many awesome combos that you could do with PK, and you could just keep on attacking, keep up the pressure, instead of every time you do the Dagger Cancel, your pressure is done now.
Yeah.
And there could be one issue with it where you do Dagger Cancel into second light, into another Dagger Cancel, into another second light. If that ends up being too strong, then you could just nerf the second light, like let's say make the top 500, so that you only have two directions to worry about. It's just one idea, but everything she needs to increase the flow would be a heavy light heavy chain, because at the moment, like, you don't really have any disincentive to just block her heavies. Like, what's she gonna do? Is she gonna throw never heavy? Oh man, like, you already have that pressure between heavy or stunning tap, or not stunning tap, bleed.
Same thing.
But you already have that pressure on the first heavy, so then your reward for landing the heavy on block is that same thing again. No, you need a heavy light heavy chain, so you have a better reward for landing that heavy on their block.
Yeah.
And her soft feint to guard break, with the rework, it was changed where now you cannot do it immediately. You have to wait until you're most of the way through the heavy, and that pretty much made it as useless as every other guard break soft feint. The big strength of PK's was because she could do it so quick, she could catch light parry attempts with it. Like, someone sees an indicator, they go for a parry, and normally, like, let's say you're doing like a heavy feint into a guard break. If someone tries to parry your heavy feint at light timing, you're not going to be able to guard break them. You're going to bounce off. But PK, she didn't have that issue. If she read a light parry, she could do a quick soft feint, and she could catch that. Or if she read a heavy parry, she could do a later soft feint, and she could catch that. It was really, really useful. It's something unique only to her, and it got removed. So now, like every other character, she cannot do anything about someone parrying on light timing. Well, I mean, of course, you have like raw heavies, but that's a bigger risk to punish the light timing parry. So yeah, I think she needs heavy light heavy chain. She needs dagger cancel being a chain starter, and she needs her old soft and guard break back. And then I think she would be such a cool character to play them.
Yeah. And remember, like, guys, if any of those become too strong, of course that can be fixed and can be modified, but design-wise, this is kind of the bigger point. Which, yeah, I mean, I agree. I do think that would be a much better version of the character and a much more, you know, fitting of being called a rework almost. Not really, still, but at least, you know, good. It would be good. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, Bodrat, your turn now. Pick a character and go. Or just ignore me. But
No.
Okay, okay.
So I'm gonna pick a character that he's not in a really bad spot right now, since he can still be used at a competitive level, just not efficiently. So I want to go ahead and say what his strengths are right now. So Raider. So dodge, guard break from any direction. It's very useful against certain matchups, and it's unique to the Raider only, where he can pretty much guard break you, I think, within the first 200 ms of his dodge and latest 400 ms. And then he has good CC, like extremely good CC that's not overpowered like Shaman's, where it's too strong, because Raider shuts down Revenge, but you can pop Revenge pretty fast as soon as the first heavy hits. So there's counterplay to his CC also, and a lot of characters can survive it. But he struggles in bigger maps, such as like High 4, where there's a lot of pressure in mid. And another really strong tool he has is the Raider's Fury, which is the combo zone in team fights. It does a lot of damage, and you can target swap it and make it unparryable. So what he lacks in is he's not very mobile. He has very slow attacks, and he's easily punished by fast attacks, and he has no hyper armor, so you cannot trade at all. So if there's a PK just sniffing your butt, you can't do shit, basically. Yeah. And another thing is his bipolar dodge recovery. So he does have a really good guard break when he dodges, but if he doesn't, he has a 700 ms dodge recovery, which makes it extremely hard for him to actually react to stuff. So what needs to be changed right now, his zone into stunning tap can be dodged with one timing, and you avoid both options. What I want to see is his stunning tap having an undodgeable property. So both the mix-ups can be avoided with one dodge, or Nibushi can just hidden stance it. But I'm pretty sure she'll find a way to avoid both still.
Yeah, if it's undodgeable, she wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, I'm just joking.
I'm sure there'd be a way.
Another thing.
It's Nibushi players.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go into like extreme detail, but another thing I would want to see is his heavies having hyper armor. Makes sense. He's a big dude, and he should be able to trade somehow, because right now, even in team fights, you have to play extremely slow. Like, you have to attack only when the other person is in recovery. Because if there's anyone with a fast attack, like I mentioned earlier, PK, she can just zone you as soon as she sees the indicator come out. So he needs hyper armor there. And then increase damage on his chained heavies. So there's actually more incentive to use his chained heavies, since they do less damage and are very telegraphed in terms of parry timing. Reduce his zone stamina cost, not the combo zone, the normal zone, because right now, if there's no wall, that's his punish off a guard break, and it uses half his stamina. And another thing I would want to see is light heavy chain, so he doesn't always have to commit to another light if it gets blocked, because then it's a guaranteed guard break, or if it hits. So it gives him more options to actually commit to fights and stuff. What else do you guys think? Reptile score. I know Reptile, you play a bit of Raider.
Yeah, I do play Raider. Personally, for Raider, all I really want right now is just for him to have, like you said, better option for stunning tap out of his zone, and I want him to have better neutral overall, because you throw a light and you're gonna get parried every time because it's so bad.
Yeah, like I didn't want to touch on the light attack too much. It obviously needs to be changed, but I don't know exactly what. Like, you can just make it faster, but that doesn't solve. He doesn't have any flow from that light, right? Because it's only light chain.
Yeah, I don't think you need to touch the light too much. I would just like to see him have other tools that gives him better neutral game. That means that he doesn't just stare at people.
Exactly, yeah. Right now, if he's in a 1v1, he has no pressure at all. His fastest attack is 600 ms, and the Raider mix-up is not worth it at most time, because you can react to it, and you can and Nabushi against Nabushi, it's just don't even press a single button.
Against anyone, dude. This is not a Nabushi thing. This is against literally anyone.
Press a button on Raider is if you're in mid and you can get your combo zones off while being locked onto somebody else when you want to hit somebody in front of you. That's the only time you're pressing buttons, or when you do a charge.
Yeah, he has like no pressure at all if you're stuck in a 1v1 with him. So that definitely needs some fixing there.
Okay.
Yeah, we had some good staring contests in the Hero series. Raider versus Raider on
yeah, for sure.
Good times.
Okay, so I think that's about it for Raider. Reptil, do you have anything? Any character?
No, not particularly, but
Okay.
if I would have to pick another character I love to play, or loved to play, would be Warden. And basically what I just want to see from Warden is change his shoulder bash a bit, but give him other tools to go into his flow other than shoulder bash, because if it's just shoulder bash, then it ends up shoulder bash either being too strong or being too weak and you can't use it. So I basically just want to see other things that he can do out of neutral, so you don't have to rely on shoulder bash for everything.
Okay.
And that's really it, honestly.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. It's okay actually. You're saving me all the time here, so that's good. Okay, so that's for Warden. So I am unsurprisingly picking my character in the Nabushi. I have a dog. I think there's. Okay, there it is. It actually works. Something worked in this show. There's a dog with all the changes that they have, like all the suggestions, not changes, all the suggestions I have for Nabushi. So this won't be going through all of them because obviously that's a lot of time. There's a decent amount of things there, but some of the most important issue with her is that there's two very important issues I think with Nabushi right now. One is that she's too boring in 1v1, as in you cannot be attacked as Nabushi, but she cannot press any buttons either except holding down her right analog stick. And the second issue is just that right analog stick. The hidden stance is way too strong defensively and it's way too weak offensively. So there needs to be a balance there. It's generally what Nabushi needs. She needs better balance in her offensive against defensive options. So her defensive options are way too strong and her offensive options are way too weak. So some of the things I have in the dog are making chains better, and generally things like that. But the biggest thing would be making two different versions of hidden stance. There would be an offensive hidden stance and a defensive hidden stance. The defensive one would be entered by simply pressing down on your right analog stick in neutral, and you would be able to counter graphic out of it, but you would not be able to get any damage. So you would not be able to kick, to any other attack. You would be able to dash out of it after 300 ms, and that's about it. It would be pretty much in 44. It would be a roll that doesn't displace you, and that would be about it. That would be its use. And now in terms of the offensive hidden stance, would be a move that you can go into after every attack. So except dash attack. So after every light, or after not after, sorry, you'll be able to feint every light and every heavy. That's not a dash attack. Into it, and you will be able to feint the second part of the zone into it, and outside. And once you're in hidden stance, offensive hidden stance, you were able to get a 400 ms light out of sides and a top undodgeable 500 ms. So it would be to be able to actually deal with someone just rolling away on a reaction or dashing away on a reaction to seeing hidden stance. Those are the biggest things, like the hidden stance change. That's like the biggest thing. Also in terms of stamina, on offensive hidden stance, I would make it so that fainting attacks into hidden stance gets a lot, drains a lot less stamina. But the defensive hidden stance when it comes to the stamina would stay the same. So there's much more with my dog. That, if you're interested, and if you're watching on YouTube, I will link it in YouTube as well, on the YouTube video. But that's about it when it comes to what I wanted to talk about, because that's the biggest thing. Her not being able to attack and her not being able to be attacked are the biggest issues. Okay, so again, if you want to know more of my ideas about other things, more details, then everything's in the doc. But when it comes to this part of the show, this is it. And this time I am not wrong. We're going to the Q&A.
Let's go.
This time I am not wrong. Most likely I'm not wrong. So okay, Reptil, just hit us up. What are the questions?
Yeah, I got a lot of questions.
Yeah, we
I don't
can't
know
do that
how
many.
many
Yeah.
we have time for, so I'm just gonna take it from top to bottom. So first question was from Ava. She asked basically a couple weeks later, what are the opinions on Orochi?
Well, okay, budget.
No. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
I just unmuted my mic by accident.
Oh, holy. We have this special system, guys, on Discord that if someone wants to say something, they unmute their microphone, and Budget unmuted his microphone. I go, okay, Budget, go ahead. And he just says, oh,
No,
sorry.
I thought I didn't have him muted.
Sorry,
so
sorry,
I
guys.
muted it.
Sorry, guys, by accident. Fucking Budget. Holy shit, you're not on the next. You're not on the next podcast. Okay, so, the next, okay, yeah, so the question, for me personally, in 1v1, he's about as strong as we thought. As we are thinking, one of the top characters in the game, and I think that's where he is. But the issue is that it's not necessarily the chains and the flow that makes him really good. It's mostly like against bash characters, it's his dash light that makes him really good, and against characters with reflex guard, yeah, that's the chains and flow is really good. Well, mostly the chains. But the dash light is really like the main thing that makes him really good against characters like Kong, or I don't know about Warlord. I haven't played that matchup and I haven't seen anyone play that matchup. But against Kong, that's like his main thing, the dash light being way too strong. And some of the things like the Stormrush bugs that need to be fixed, the Riptide just not chaining half the time because it's stupid, needs to be changed. Maybe make it a little bit quicker in the backdash as well. So those are the things that those are my opinions. In 4v4, I think right now he's in a weird spot where he's okay, but there's Shaman. Why would you ever play Orochi? And also from what I've seen, like Orochi players at this point are not quite accustomed, don't seem to be quite accustomed to the like all the like the chain finisher, dash recovery, dash cancels and things like that, and changing targets with quick lights and shit like that. So I think once the Shaman nerfs come and the Orochi's bug fixes come, and players get more time with the character, I think he would be like a viable fourth pick. But right now he's not quite at that point yet. That's okay. That's for me. So, what about you guys? All right, good talk.
Yeah, so personally, I haven't really played much against Orochi, but again, from what I've seen so far, I'm still very underwhelmed. But that's me. So yeah, Scorebrain.
Yep. 4v4, he's about where I expected. We're like sure he's viable, but not a top pick. He wasn't really represented on any of the teams. But yeah, Alern went over reasons why I mostly agree with that. 1v1, it's a lot of disagreement among top players on how good Orochi is in 1v1. Some people think he's really good, some people think he's not very good at all. So it's kind of a lot of different opinions. I'm of the opinion that he is pretty damn good in 1v1, but I don't know, maybe over more time, more games with him, that opinion might change, but at the moment I think he's pretty good in ones.
Yep. Okay, next question.
Right.
We can do like two more, I think.
Force. Are there any optimal comp differences between console and PC regarding 2v2s?
Oh, well, we kind of went over that. Like, console is just who gets the quickest attacks and who's able to attack at a wide arc. So Nobushi Kansai, and on PC there's a lot more complexity. So
yeah, I mean Conk is still good on console, but he's much better on PC, and Zerker as well. You see more of Zerker and twos on PC.
Yeah, like in my 2v2 experience, and on console I did see Conk a decent amount, like Mamba and Fusion were playing Conk Kansai, and it did feel very annoying to play against him simply because like. Sure, he can't really react to anything with full block, but he can't really do that on PC either. So you're just kind of randomly going into it, and you either hit it or you don't. And it's just a very annoying to play against, but that's pretty much very similar on PC. So yeah, in general, I'd say just like the Bushi Kensei is pretty much the meta, and there's not much else you can, I don't think.
All right. So next question is from Endervex. What is the easiest A tier hero to learn and do well with in 4v4, and why?
I play one, like I would not be able to.
I'm pretty sure everybody would agree that it is Kensei. It's kind of ridiculous how easy he is in team modes. Like, it's just because he has very simple, strong options, you know? Like zone attack, dodge attack into a finisher. It doesn't really take much to learn how to use these because of his extreme range. Like, you look at Zerker, right? He's got he's got like the same idea of what his strong tools are, and that they're just basic attacks. But Zerker has very little range, so he's very difficult to use. Kensei, just being basic attacks and having a bunch of range, makes him really, really easy to pick up.
I mean, I personally agree with that a lot, especially the whole point of like he has very strong, very simple options to go into, and that just makes him very easy to learn.
Yeah, like for example, when I play Kensei in 2v2, I'm just a zone bot. Like that's literally my role as Kensei in 2. I'll just zone, wait a few seconds for stamina, zone again, wait some more, zone again. And you could do the same thing in forwards and be just as effective.
Okay, I can't really comment too much on that one. In my experience, PK was very, very easy, but now that there's the changes have been made, I would not know the much lower damage. That is probably very different. So yeah, it seems like Kensei is the the opinion here. So okay, next question, Reptile.
Right. Obsidian Renegade. Do you think it's possible to make a good competitive hero without just giving it fast attacks or a fast bash?
I mean, you need some way to be able to pressure people. And like even Kensei, that would be like the best example of making a good hero that doesn't necessarily rely on incredible speed. But he still has, technically Movian still has a 400 MS bash, and he still has the zone in 4v4. So I don't know, like I do know that I do think that there's ways to make characters that don't rely necessarily on having like a super quick bash on 400 MS attacks or anything like that. But I do think that you need at least one of those in some way.
Yeah, it also depends on what game mode you're talking about, because in ones, yeah, sure, you need it to pressure. But in fours, I don't think it's that necessary. You don't need to be that strong in 1v1s. Like a Raider is a good example. It's not like he's bad in 4v4s. He's pretty good. They're pretty damn good. And he doesn't have any fast attacks or a fast bash. So that's a good example.
Yeah, 4v4 you definitely don't need any of that. But for 1v1, I think you definitely do need something unreactable in some way to be good in ones. Like you're not going to kill someone in ones if they can react to everything you do.
Exactly.
Something needs to be quick in some way, whether it's like it doesn't have to be quick in the same way though. Like you look at a conch bash, it's just really quick out of neutral. You look at and when you compare that to Kensei's Palmless Strike, it's even quicker, but it's not directly out of neutral. You got more time to figure out how you're gonna react to this. Well, not react, how you're gonna, I don't know how to say it, but like what you're gonna do about it. Like you can't react to a Palmless Strike, but you got warning for it. So like there needs to be something very difficult to react to or impossible to react to make a good 1v1 hero.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think in 1v1 you do need something, but in 4v4 not necessarily. You do need, I think, you need some type of, like something that, the character is excelling at, but there's much more that can be used for 4v4 compared to 1v1 for that. Okay, so next question. I think that's going to be the last one then.
All right, let's see. What's a good question here? Should the amount of revenge bashes be reworked? Like some give massive amounts for minimal CC, and some give like none for similar amounts of CC.
So what's the question? Is it like
yeah, like
different batches give different revenge gain, or what?
Yeah, like for different amounts of CC.
Is that the case?
No. Every batch gives the same amount of revenge right now.
I think.
Right, well, there you go, Kawaii.
No, it's an interesting idea. I'm not sure how I feel about it.
I think just changing how much, bashes. Like, no, the thing is, like, what would this affect? This would affect something like maybe Shinobi Kick, because that's, something that doesn't give you that much damage, but, can give you a lot of revenge. But, with Shinobi Kick, for some reason, you cannot activate revenge before it hits you. So maybe that could be a way to deal with that. If you want to change something, like with some of those attacks that give you less damage but give you still the same amount of revenge, you could maybe do it like with Shinobi Kick, where you cannot activate it until after the damage is done. Maybe something like that.
My problem with it, after thinking over it for a few seconds, is in a ganked scenario, every batch is the same. Every batch gives a teammate heavy. So if you change these batches to give different amounts of revenge, whichever ones are now giving the least suddenly become much better in games, almost arbitrarily so over others.
Yeah. I'm not sure how I necessarily feel about the idea, but I think well, basically what I'm trying to say is I think it's fine as it is right now. I'm just trying to think of the revenge gain in ganks, and when it comes to bashes, I think it's fine as it is right now. I'm just trying to think of ways to, if we want to change it, in what ways we would. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure how I feel about that. Okay, I think that's gonna be the last one then, unless anyone has anything else to add. But I think that's going to be it for this week. I thought this was going to be a much shorter podcast. It ends up being like one of the I think the second longest one so far.
Is it the second longest? Is it not the longest?
Yeah,
depends how it is the longest.
Depends how long we take right now. it's very close.
Let's argue for another 40 minutes.
Yeah, guys, 5 more questions. Well, okay. So I think that's about it for the podcast now. So, guys, Bodger, Reptil, and Scarban, if you have anything to shout out, whether you're streaming, plan on streaming, doing anything else, or shouting out just anyone in particular, this is your chance to do it right now.
I would like to shout out my teammate for not showing up, so we can play the tournament. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to shout out Andervex for hosting another tournament next week, which we already mentioned, but I can post the link again in Twitch chat. And if you need teams, again, message me on Discord. My name is Badra. You can find me in For Glory or the Competitive For Honor Discord.
Yep.
That's it.
All right.
I have kind of returned to streaming, but more in like the Kihu Legion way, where I'm just going to be streaming scrims and tournaments. I streamed the last 4v4 tournament. I'll be streaming for one next week. Any scrims that I go on this week, I'll likely be live for that as well. So, yeah, just can come watch that.
All right. So that's just Scarbrand, right? On Twitch.
With an underscore at the end.
Okay, so Scarbrand underscore is the Twitch channel you guys want to join or follow. Join if you want to watch that. And okay, so thank you guys for being here today. I will now say bye to the stream. By myself. You guys are not needed here. I will be by myself. So thank you guys for being.
Thank you guys. Later.
Thank you guys. See ya. Okay, now that I'm rid of them, I can take time and sell out myself. So if you, again, as per usual, if you like this type of content, make sure to follow. And I will be streaming a lot more in the coming weeks. I don't know exactly if I'll be streaming a lot more this week, because I will definitely be streaming in the future, but I don't know if this week, because I'm still working on the videos and I want to make sure they're actually fucking out one day. So that's taking up a lot of my time. I'll be making an educational Dominion series guide. So if you guys are interested in that, you can sub to my YouTube channel as well, on top of following this one, if you like to. So there will be a lot more coming from me. Oh, and also when it comes to shoutouts, I would also like to shout out Ender, but I would like to shout out Light Boogie as well for making the tournaments on console. They are usually very good. They are usually streamed if he's capable of streaming them on PS4. And Light Boogie is just a name you want to follow on Twitch as well if you're interested in in competitive console. As much as we like to joke about it, or not really joke, it is really bad, but you know, if you want to see exactly how bad it is on a stream of a really good caster, then you get to do that on Light Boogie. Yeah, twitch.tv/Light Boogie. Thanks, Yosei. I hope that's the good I hope that's the good one. So that's the Light Boogie you want to follow. And from me, again, if you're interested in this type of content, I will be doing a lot more of this. Next podcast is in 2 weeks, different time. It's going to be a lot earlier. And yeah, thank you all for watching. This was a pretty impromptu podcast, actually, because I was playing in a tournament, didn't really get time to prepare much, but ended up being fine, I think. If you guys liked it, then that's all that matters. And it will be on YouTube in a couple hours, most likely. So thank you. Thank you to all of you. And this will be it for this week. So see ya.